Good morning, everyone. Jim Clark here at Synchronicity Sanctuary here in Central Virginia to share another contemplative focus with you today. And the focus that we have scheduled for you today is when the mind is still, the celebration of life begins. A busy mind cannot hear the wisdom of the heart. As the mind decelerates into more stillness, this obstruction disappears, and the love that you are, that all is, reveals itself to itself as you. So, this is referencing the gradual unfolding that happens with a meditative and holistic lifestyle. As you continue to meditate and decelerate your brain waves and put emphasis on the alpha, theta, and delta brain waves, which is where the busyness of the mind begins to quiet down and become more and more still over time. And when you reach a certain point in this, you start to actualize an energy experience of yourself as source. And the very nature of that is, of course, is love, unconditional love. It's like the sunshine. It just shines on everything. It doesn't shine just in one place because it has some kind of a preference or exclusion. It includes everything. So, in my experience here, over the many years that I practice meditation and lifestyle with high-tech meditation that we have here, and that we utilize and recommend, I've had this experience myself, and I continue to have this experience. It's not like there's a sudden switch that flips on and then that's it. It's an ever increasing experience. It gets more, and the amplitude of that energetic experience continues to grow, and you integrate that experience in your daily life so that simultaneous to what I'm doing right now, which is this live stream, that energy experience is happening within me as I speak, huh? And this is where I'm speaking from. It's something that I could have never ever imagined. I remember in the early days of my meditation experience, I had brief moments where I kind of touched upon this kind of experience in some way or another, but I couldn't hold on to it because I wasn't balanced enough to maintain it in duration. Whereas today, I hold it, I don't have to make an effort to hold it other than I meditate every day. I maintain what I have, and because I maintain it, it continues to grow and grow. And so in that experience, what happens is that there's a process that you go through where the information that you hold on to, that you still have unconsciously and subconsciously, begins to clear itself because the experience you're having is not congruent with the old beliefs of the limited beliefs that you used to have that defined who you are. So we have this process of growing up where we take on these definitions unconsciously. People, our parents, our peers, our teachers, people that that are authorities in our life. Those people, whatever they say, goes right into us when we're very young, and we just accept it because we don't know any better. And then over the years, here and there we pick up more data about ourselves. It can be positive or it can be negative, but the thing is, it's not a direct experience of ourselves. So we're caught in this kind of a conflicting situation where we have the positive and negative definitions of ourself, all this information, and it's active in our psyche, and yet one day we're very positive and upbeat, and the next day we're down and we're depressed, and we try to manage this, but there's no way to manage it because we don't understand the mechanics of it. So, and the mechanics are actually pretty simple. It's simply, if you make an effort to accentuate the opposite polarity that you're experiencing, like some self-negation or some definition of you that is not acceptable because there's another piece of information that says that you're something else, then the only way to manage it is to go beyond it, ultimately. In order to even have this human form, we have to have some kind of information in our psyche that says who we are and what life is, but it doesn't have to dominate our experience. It's simply here to maintain the experience of being a human being. So, irregardless of what that might be, a conscious intention and a lifestyle of meditation and a lifestyle that supports your ability to maintain an energetic experience rather than just a mental one, and that you're balanced and whole, and that your emotions aren't all over the place, and your mind is kind of balanced. It's not suffering from some kind of a chemical imbalance and all these things. That's what you have to do, and this is the basis of all wisdom traditions, where students have gone to their teachers and adopted a lifestyle where they can generate that experience for themselves, and they have, and they continue to do so. It's just that for the most part, most people are so caught up in themselves as a human being that the dramas and the ups and downs of their life don't allow them to start being curious about who they are and what life is in a way that's acceptable or useful for them. So that's one of the requirements of life itself, is that if your life is too busy just trying to survive, say, then that's what you have to do, and your focus is going to go there, and that's normal. There's not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that it shuts off that possibility for you, because you can't afford to go there, because you have to maintain an alertness and a focus on the external world around you in order to navigate and survive in it. And even when people do have the capacity and their life could go that way, it becomes habitual and it becomes all engrossing. And so the consideration of something else just doesn't even come up. So I know in my life, I had no clue. I went through life with questions and certain things that I knew that I didn't know in regards to who I was and all that. But there was no definition, and there was no way for me, there was no user manual, let's say, that told me what to do in order to get the answers that I unconsciously wanted to resolve. Until I reached a point in my life where suddenly, let's just say, a spiritual experience occurred that woke me up to that possibility and to that reality that went beyond anything I knew before. But even then, I still didn't have a user manual. I still didn't know exactly what to do to pursue this and to try to make that my life and to make that experience continue on. So, which of course doesn't happen anyway, because we experience ourselves as our experience of ourselves is a very dynamic one, and it changes all the time. But within the changing experiences, there is a constant that can unfold, and that is when the heart center can communicate to you so that you can cognize and recognize that there is more to you than what you ever thought possible. More than the five senses can tell you, more than any information in the mental dimension can ever bring to you. It has to be an experience. It cannot be some definition. It cannot be something you read in a book or something that you hear on the internet, because even though it may sound great, if you're not having that experience, then that's just something else that goes in terms of a concept. And concepts themselves cannot illuminate yourself to yourself in an experiential way, nor can they maintain an experience like that for long. Meditation meditation every day. That is the way to get there, because what happens when you meditate, you put an emphasis on the interior of your own being, whereas prior to meditation, your focus is always going out. It's going out to the world and the people around you, your environment, so that you can continue to interact and survive and be accepted and so forth and so on, right? And this is what everybody's doing by default. But when you get curious, when something in your life brings your attention to the possibility that there might be something more to you than what you can experience by what you're doing now, then that possibility may show up, and you might start to pursue a method of meditation and to try it out. And of course, this is only the beginning, because without a user, without some guide, without someone who's journeyed the journey to help you navigate that new experience in your life, it can still be something that you eventually give up because you think it's not happening, or you think you're not doing it right, and so forth and so on. And I know from my experience being here as a staff member and supporting people who meditate, that it's very common for people to start a meditation program of some kind or a practice and then drop out because they don't understand what kind of a process they initiate when they go into themselves. They don't understand that they're dealing with an illusory definition of themselves and the world around them that simply cannot remain when they have their experiences that they get in meditation. Because when you have an insight, which we call a peak experience, when you break through your conditioning and your mental definitions and so forth, and you open up to something that's beyond concept, okay, that has a huge impact on you, and a very positive impact. But all the data that you hold that says that you're something other than that experience isn't you, well, that begins to surface. And sometimes that can surface in terms of negative emotions or thoughts. It can even have physical symptomology to it. It can have energy twitches and so forth and whatnot. It's trying to clear some of your meridians where that data is living. And so if you don't understand that process, most people, when they start meditating, they think that something's wrong, because why should they feel that way? Meditation's supposed to make you feel more relaxed. It's supposed to make you feel very happy and so forth. And it does, but then you cycle back and you start to integrate your experience, and in that process, which we call the fivefold process here, that's where all this clearing goes on, It's making room for more and deeper experiences of the truth of who you are. And that's a good sign. That means that your meditation practice is working and that you're on your way, you're doing the right thing, okay? And when I first came here, or actually even before I came here, I spent many years meditating in traditional styles. I tried Sufi meditations, which were very powerful for me, and just some generalized meditations, like focusing on my breath and sitting and breathing and watching my breath. Sometimes I stared at a candle. I did all kinds of things like this. And I had experiences here and there, but they were fleeting and they were not very consistent. And then I experienced my fivefold process, where I was clearing some data about that conflicted with the good experiences I was having in meditation, and I thought I was doing something wrong. I said, what is this? 1 minute I'm so high and I feel so good and loving, and then the next minute all this negative emotions and stuff would start rising up in me, and I couldn't understand why that was. But then I discovered Synchronicity, and I tried out one of their soundtracks, and I had one of the deepest meditations that I'd ever experienced, and it just happened right away. I didn't have to work at it. It was automatic, and it just unfolded naturally. And so at that point, of course, based on my previous experience, I told myself, I'm going to try this out, and I did. I signed up for their recognitions program, and I started doing that, and I had some soundtracks sent to me, and I started using those every day. And without fail, whenever I plugged into that soundtrack to put my headphones on and listen to it, I had a very good meditation, a very powerful one. It didn't mean that it was all joy. There was clearing processes going on, and there was this integrative process always happening in me. In fact, it happened more then than ever because my meditations were actually more consistent and deeper, and that maintained a kind of a momentum in terms of my own spiritual growth and awakening that I couldn't get when I was just fumbling around without the right directions and understanding of how that worked, and what is the world and how does it work and how do I work because I'm in the world. How does a human being manage to discover who they are when they already think they know who they are? This is kind of a mystery and a quandary and part of the game that goes on in all of manifestation for human beings anyway. So it was quite a journey, and I remember there was some ups and downs in it, but because I had such good experiences in meditation myself, I could never let go of it. I even tried to let go of it at times, but I always ended up coming back because once you get a taste of the truth of who you are, nothing else matters as much as that, for good reason. And that's what I wanted to share in this focusing contemplation with you today, because it was a major part of my life that put me on a path that led to the experience that I'm having today, which is being blissful consciousness. And it continues to grow. It's not like you step into this and then that's it. It's like there's more and more and more to get, and more growth to grow into, and it's great. It's like, okay, now I know what my life is about, and it's yielding results that will go with me when I'm through with this body. So that's what I wanted to share with you today, and I hope it is some value for you and that it helps you in your journey. And so until next week, when I'll share another contemplative focus with you, journey well. So I'll see you then again next Monday morning.